Willard and Dibs have a lot to say.
My only weapon was my mouth.
But they just have one big question.
What are you doing right now? What are you doing right now? What are you doing right now? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Let me ask you a question, Dibs. Do you feel understood?
Not completely, no.
Okay.
No. Do any of us?
Exactly. There's
No.
not a human being on the planet. I love that question because nobody does. Because quite frankly, it's impossible to be understood. There's no way. Even those, look, you and I spend 3 to 4 hours a day together.
At least.
And the text chain, what, right? Like we are connected almost 24 hours a day, except for you go night-night really, really early.
Not as early as you think anymore.
Well, there you go. So you're misunderstood.
Yeah.
Why? Was something going on?
No, just grinding, Got
Just
a second
grinding.
job starting today, refereeing volleyball. So up later,
Okay,
Taking
perfect.
volleyball quizzes and getting my...
Really?
Oh, yeah. Had to retake it. Got a 96.
Lot of quizzes going on. By the way, young Abe Willard, first try, permit test. Bang.
Win. Oh, that's huge.
Bang from way downtown. Fruit Cup, that's right.
How many did he miss?
I think 6. I think he went 39 for 45.
Because you're allowed to miss 7 or 8.
You got to be at north of 80%. Right, so he went 39 of 45. I think that was about 86%. It was funny. He thought it was only 36 questions, so he missed the 6th one, and he goes, I'm out. I failed. But if it was a 45-question test,
gotcha.
So he just kind of got flippant. He's like, well, I already failed, so I might as well just finish these suckers, not realizing for a period of questions that he was still in the game, rolled off 25 in a row.
Oh, it's big.
Bang. So he did exactly what the Giants need to do, rolled off 25 in a row, and then everything was fine. And he walked out, and he got his permit. So a lot of quizzes going on lately. So I'm glad you're staying up later, but I ask about are you understood, because no one in the history of humanity's ever felt understood. And we know Kevin Durant, obviously, does not either. So, you love basketball and you left basketball heaven? Hold on now. What are you doing? I got to ask each and every one of you if you actually feel that way. I get that through our eyes. Warrior basketball, what the hell's better than that? But that's not how it felt to him. That's not how it felt to him. Yes, we want guys to want to win championships, and he was winning championships. But by the same token, we don't understand. There's obviously so much that went on behind closed doors with that team. The one thing about the Kevin Durant story that I'll never do, I will never say, dude, you should have stayed. Like, that's someone else's life, someone else's experience that I didn't experience. If you wanted to be somewhere else, great. Now, I have no idea if this is how you envisioned it going.
Yeah.
And I would imagine no. And we can certainly criticize the basketball result of the whole thing. But no, I'm not going to say you're actually – he is all about basketball. This didn't go the way he thought it would go, but if he wasn't enjoying things as a Warrior, leave.
Go ahead and leave.
And it was great for us as it turned out.
Exactly. And, the situation can always be pointed where, it was KD's fault. No, the truth always lies in the middle. You've experienced a separation. I've done the same thing personally, professionally. We all have. And in terms of, the understanding, you don't understand what's gone on the other side as much as I haven't understand, and they haven't understood us and the whole thing. But when you look at the net results of it, the Warriors have been able to win a championship now subsequent to his departure. And since he left, he hasn't had the same level of success. Now, that doesn't mean that he was wrong and the Warriors were right. What it does mean, though, is that the Warriors were able to recover from a competitive standpoint better than Kevin Durant has. And I look at his pattern of behavior, and he strikes me as a person who is always looking for something else, as opposed to, this is my situation, and I'm going to put down roots and make this work.
I guess my point is, I like what you just said. I am so impressed and thankful with the way the Warriors worked their way out of this. And yes, they caught some breaks, for sure. Even they couldn't have seen Wiggins working out this well when it came to a championship run.
Or thinking that they could get something for D'Angelo Russell in that fashion.
And a pick that turns into another exciting young player.
Minnesota. Thank God for Minnesota.
Minnesota is just the gift that keeps on giving.
Totally.
And you're blessed with health at the right time with guys who weren't always healthy. Steph, Clay, Dre, all of that stuff. Super impressed by that. But there's no part of me that wants to rub KD's nose in this. I guess that's the point when Jonathan...
That's the difference between me and you.
Yeah, right? If you're LeBron and Dan Gilbert, now I'm going to rub your nose in it.
Interesting.
Because you came out with a statement. Remember Dan Gilbert's statement when LeBron left?
Oh, yeah. In Comic Sans.
We are going to have a championship before you, and you stink, and I hate... I mean, that was the vibe of it. It sounded like a teenage movie. It was like, all right, now if you do that, you go out of your way to sell me down the river. Now I'm rubbing your nose in it. KD never did that. There's no part of me that wants to rub his nose in it.
Totally. He allowed them to work a sign and trade, but his whole persona on social media, his chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, you don't have to love that.
I don't love that.
You don't. That's up to you.
You're mean-spirited in certain ways. When a guy goes down a slide and breaks his arm, you're willing to laugh at that, but you won't rub KD's nose in it.
It was funny because he laughed at it too, Dan.
Yes.
And by the way, he did just report on Twitter about a half hour ago, successful wrist surgery.
Okay, so, good.
Yeah, we're good
He's
here.
Bouncing back. And this, of course, the Dodger reporter who went down a slide and broke half his body.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Holy crap!
I don't wish ill will upon KD from a personal nature, but when he got swept by Boston, I was thrilled.
Well, that's fine.
And I was happy to rub his nose in that. You couldn't even win one game against Boston, KD. You couldn't even get your teammate to play more than 2/5 of the game, and you're in Brooklyn where you're the 8th most important team in town. And that's the difference between me and you.
It is.